Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here on the brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Shop Video today. Taking a go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though, the big things that released today are Mission Impossible Fallout, and I believe there's some exclusives of that one, as well as the film The Nun, and I know the Lion King 4K comes out today, and I think there's a Best Buy Steelbook of that one, and there might be an exclusive at Target for that. I'm not 100% sure though. Also though, since it's the first Tuesday of the month, Walmart changes out the actual section and gets in a whole bunch of new stuff, so definitely look forward to seeing what they have in there, new today. Also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff, some stuff from Arrow Video, the brand new Maniac release from Blue Underground, as well as a ton of other really cool stuff. So definitely stay tuned for those at the end of this video. And also in the comments below, let me know as well, what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I reviewed, if you guys have seen them before, and what your thoughts of them were. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And this past weekend, the only movie that I got to see was The Possession of Hannah Grace, which is not like the typical kind of possession film. It's basically though about the body of this girl who was, possessed by a demon that's brought to this morgue. This girl who just started working there, and then she's like that night, it's like one of her first nights, she starts like experiencing really weird things going on, and it's like stuff going on, that could have something to do with this body that was brought in. I actually thought it was relatively creepy. Like some of the creepiest stuff was actually like all the lights were on these timers, so they were coming on and off. There were sort of similar movies kind of like that before, but I did think it was alright. If you guys saw that one though, let me know what you guys thought of it, or what you guys saw this past weekend if you guys got to see it. But in here in the front of the store though, they have Mission Impossible Fallout here, the Blu-ray for $19.99, and then as well as one of the other things that was today was the Happy Time Murders, which stars Melissa McCarthy. I don't know, I thought this one was okay. I didn't honestly love this one too much. It was like kind of like there was a few funny things about it. One of the other things that came out today was The Nun. I'm going to be talking about the 4K of this one at the end of this video. Yeah, there is a 4K of that, and as well as this is the only at Target edition here of Westworld Season 2, which has a lenticular cover on this one. Yes, like a lenticular cover, which is their exclusive one here, and that one is $39.99. Let's head over to the section though and see what else they have over there. I also wanted to mention though, Target now, they just released, I've yet to find them anywhere, because it's like all the locations say they're in the stores, but like I've even tried to do store pickup and they couldn't find them, so they're gonna have to ship them. But apparently though, the VHS, the Blu-rays and VHS cases of like Jaws, Slapshot, Fast and Ridgemont High, Backdraft, E.T., those ones which are Target exclusives, I'm pretty sure they're only at Target. They are out now. I think they came out like 3 days ago and were supposed to be in stores on Sunday, but like I said, I even did the store pickup and they weren't able to find them, so they said, oh well, we can ship them. But if you guys have seen those in any stores though, let me know. But over here though, in the actual section though, one of the only other different things I see here was Pope Francis, a man of his words here, as well as Operation Finale, which I just got a copy of that one. I'll have a review of that one next week. But I don't actually see any of the Lion Kings here. Either they all sold out already, or they hadn't been put out yet, but they're like $29.99 for the 4K, and their exclusive one here is $32.99. But yeah, like I said, I don't see any of them put out in here anywhere, and it doesn't look like too I see any of those VHS ones I was mentioning in here. But over here though, they also have The Handmaid's Tale Season 2 here. This one's, I think it's actually $25.99 or $24.99 for that one, as well as the 4K edition here of Westworld, which is $49.99 for the 4K edition. And like I showed in the front, the exclusive Target one here with the lenticular cover. I'm pretty sure that's exclusive, or it's not exclusive, but the only exclusive was it comes with a bonus disc. That might be actually what it was, because that's what it said on the front on the sticker. Into Walmart we go. And this is actually the second Walmart I've been in here today, so fingers crossed that this one has the stuff out, because the other one didn't have anything out at all. And that's a weird thing to hear. They're selling for $22. They're selling like a replica of like the Red Ryder BB gun, from Christmas Story. And I think it's a real like actual BB gun. But luckily enough though, it looks like they have all this stuff out in here today. At least in the front they have the stuff. And they have Mission Impossible Fallout here for $29.96 for the 4K of that one. They do have an exclusive though, but I think the exclusive is only that it has all the movies together on DVD as opposed to Blu-ray of them. So the DVD one is $39.96, and this has all the Mission Impossible films together. Also, God Bless the Broken Road released today for $17.96. As well as The Nun, and they have in here the 4K of that for $29.96. They have Happy Time Murders as well, and this one here, Yellowstone, the complete first season, and that one is $24.96. I should have a review of that one coming soon. And yeah, it looks like that was an exclusive in Target, the Westworld one, because this one has more of like a shiny cover to it as opposed to the lenticular cover. But also, though, some of the other things that released today were the Viking Destiny, which I'm going to be talking about that at the end of this video. Operation Finale was today. This Castlevania Season 1 release. I don't know too much about this one, and they have an exclusive of that one here, which includes like a t-shirt inside of here. Yeah, so there's an exclusive t-shirt inside of this edition for $24.99. I always says I don't put these things back. I'm trying to get them all back in here. And also Relic. This one was from the BBC, was today, and then Reindeer Family and Me released. Now let's check the section. Let's see some of the new things today. Where Elliot the Littlest Reindeer released today. Let's see some of the other things. Getting Grace was released today. I think the Prayer Box, that was actually like last month that released. I think Heaven's War was today. I'm trying to see which ones I remember which are new. Elizabeth Harvest, I'm going to be talking about this at the end of this video. This one, I really, really love this movie. This was a really, really cool movie. And then this is weird. This is like a copy of the cover for Kidnapped. And it's, because I was thinking, wait a minute, Kidnapped isn't new. It's called Deceived. And it's like they changed out Halle Berry and like put in this other woman and then covered over this like that. That is really, really, really strange. That's totally the Kidnapped cover. And then they also have Sheborg, that released today. Attraction, I'll be talking about this one at the end of this video as well. Also, this movie I really liked here, a really funny anthology film called All the Creatures Were Stirring, which stars Constance Wu from, Crazy Rich Asians, and Fresh Off the Boat is in this. I'll be talking about this one at the end of this video as well. Also, another one I'm going to be talking about at the end is the Bella Thorne film here, Ride. Another one, I really like this a lot as well. Really pretty cool film. And also, Death Kiss came out today, and this one is $9.96. This one is a Walmart exclusive for the DVD, so you can exclusively get this one at Walmart. I'm going to be talking about this one as well at the end of this video. And I think this might be new, this alternate edition here of Dolomite. I think there's another version of this released in the past, I believe. I'm not 100% sure though, but also though they do have in here though the Lion King 4K, and that one is $29.96 here, so at least they do have this one in, because Target didn't have any of them. Either they weren't out or they had already all sold out, but I don't think they had any exclusives though of that one though. I know Best Buy though should have an exclusive, I believe, Steelbook of that, but at least this location has all the things out. At least there's a couple little spots, but it seems like for the most part everything is out. Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, and in here though, like I mentioned though, they have a Mission Impossible Fallout Steelbook here, and they have the Blu-ray Steelbook and the 4K Steelbook. The Blu-ray is $24.99, and then the 4K Steelbook is $29.99. They have Happy Time Murders here as well. Yeah, see this, like I said in Walmart, the only exclusive that they had with this was the fact that they had it only on the DVD version of that. Other than that here though, in the front, I don't see anything else in here different in the front. Let me see if they have the Lion King thing in here. They do have though, 4K wise though, they have the exclusive Steelbook here of Westworld Season 2 here, and this one is $41.99 for the Blu-ray, and then $49.99 for the 4K of that one. But in here though, in the actual section though, they do have the Lion King 4K exclusive Steelbook here. That one's $34.99 for that one. So that's a pretty cool one for this 4K Steelbook. If you guys have seen this one though, let me know how this looks on 4K. I've always loved this movie, but I haven't really seen many reviews yet for the 4K quality and everything. So let me know if you guys have picked that up, how that one looks. I believe this is a new Steelbook that came out today for Spider-Man Homecoming for $17.99 for the Blu-ray of that one. I think there might have been like one other Steelbook I saw that was releasing today. They do have the Castlevania Season 1 here as well for $19.99. So anyway though guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give us a thumbs up. Also in the comments below, let me know, what you guys picked up, if you guys picked up anything today. Also let me know as well what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I reviewed at the end of this video. There's a whole bunch of ones. I think there's like 50 minutes of stuff. I have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So anyway though guys, now stay tuned for the review. And the first one I got here is from Arrow Video, and it's a movie here called Bloody Birthday. And I love the new artwork on this one. This is one of those movies I've always really loved this. It's a similar vibe of like, crazy like killer kid films to like Village of the Damned, Children of the Corn, those kind of vibes, but this one is more of a slasher film. But it's essentially though about these three kids who are all born during the solar eclipse. And something about this eclipse, because they're born at the same time too, makes these kids totally crazy. They're going around like killing people, and there's these crazy death scenes and everything in here. It is a really great slasher film, and it's like I said, it's got a Village of the Damned, Children of the Corn kind of vibe to the movie. And it's like the one's brother is like expecting that, noticing that something is going on with these sibling and these other two kids, and he's kind of like watching and trying to figure out what's going on and how he can stop all this. But it is a really cool movie. This has on here though a brand new 2K scan from the original film elements on this one. Great new transfer on this one. They did such a great job cleaning up this movie. Has a new commentary on here with the director on here, a commentary with The Hysteria Continues, which they've done commentaries on a number of different, horror and cult films in the past. I always love their commentaries. They really have lots of inside facts and stuff, and they talk about like other films that they like and like similar kind of things, but really good commentaries they do. This also has a interview on here with Laurie Lethin, one of the actresses in the film, and video appreciation on the killer kid subgenre with film Christopher Alexander on here, as well as archival interviews on here with the producer, theatrical trailers and promo, as well as in here it has a booklet with some pictures from the film and some facts and stuff like that, and like some of the other alternate poster artwork and everything. But if you guys like slasher films and things like that are crazy, like killer kid films and that kind of stuff, definitely would recommend you guys check this one out for sure. Really cool movie. The next one's here. Just want to let you guys know that these are available from Arrow Video as well. This one here is Django, the original film Django, which is starring Franco Nero. This is the film that, inspired, Quentin Tarantino with Django Unchained. And it even has, I'm pretty sure it was the same music that he used. The opening credits to this song, he used the opening credits theme song. Pretty sure he used that one in Django Unchained. I might be wrong, but I believe that he did. It was the same one. I haven't seen Django Unchained since it came to theaters, but really did like this. But this is like a spaghetti western film, which is much more... It's like when you think of like one of the really pivotal ones, this one too goes like really crazy with like the use of like machine guns and like stuff that you weren't really seeing in other, Western films at the time. This one goes to like crazy levels, but it's pretty much about Django coming to this town, and he's dragging along this coffin with him, and it's kind of like, well, what is he doing with this thing? And it's kind of like he comes in this town and he ends up saving this one woman, and then there ends up being these bandits that are after him, and this other, like, this guy is kind of running the town, and a lot of people are dead in the town because of this, and he ends up wrapped up in the whole situation. But a really great film. And this has on here a whole bunch of different stuff in this. This has a brand new 4K scan of the film of Django, as well as it has a bonus Disc 2 on here, has Texas Adios, which is a bonus film as well on here. But some of the other features, it has a brand new Django Never Dies, an interview with Franco Nero, who played Django. Interview on here with assistant director Rogerio Diallo, who directed Cannibal Holocaust, which was pretty cool that he was the assistant director on this one, as well as archival interviews on here with Franco. With a co-writer on this one, unseen interview with a co-writer as well. So lots and lots of different features on here. Interviews with Western Scholar on here talking about the film. Has a commentary on Texas Adios with spaghetti western experts. So lots and lots of features. But inside of here, though, it has a original poster for the film. It's like the original poster for the movie. So that's really cool, and it has it for, Django, and has two different sided poster for the movie, as well as a huge booklet in here with some, facts and stuff like that, and pictures and everything from the movies, and all kinds of stuff about it. So really great release here on this one for sure. And also, though, like I said, it's a 2-disc set, and inside of here, it has also, has the first film, Django, as well as Texas Adios, and it has lobby cards as well in here. So it has a whole bunch of different, lobby cards from the film. So that's really cool as well, but really great release. Also, the other one that I want to let you guys know about from Arrow Video, and this is pretty cool too, and I didn't even know about these movies, that they were the first films that Robert De Niro was in. And this is the Riot in the De Niro and De Palma early films collection here. It has The Wedding Party, Greetings, and Hi Mom. You know, I love Brian De Palma. He directed like one of my top favorite movies of all time that I absolutely love called Body Double, but I always really love his stuff. So this is really cool set here with some of his super early films, and like I said, the very first stuff that Robert De Niro had ever acted in. Like I said, it has, you know, Wedding Party, Greetings, and Hi Mom. And in here, though, it has brand new 2K restorations of The Wedding Party from original film negative by Arrow Films, a 2K restoration of Hi Mom, and Greetings from the original materials from Arrow Video as well as on here, there's a brand new commentary track on here with author Robert De Niro's Anatomy of an Actor. He was the writer of the Robert De Niro Anatomy of an Actor book on this one. So tons and tons of, you know, new stuff in here. And inside here you have Greetings, and then this you have also they have booklets. You know, Greetings also has Wedding Party on it as well, with some booklets with some pictures from the film and everything about the films. And also, like I said, if you guys are a fan of Brian De Palma as well, really cool to see some of his early films get released. And this one has Hi Mom on it as well. The next one here is one I finished watching last night from Scream Factory, and this is a movie here called Elizabeth Harvest. And I have to say, I cannot tell you how much I like this movie. This is not a movie that everyone's going to absolutely love, because it's a very, very art film, like with the look and everything. It's got a very vibes to me of like Dario Argento and Brian De Palma as well, but real Argento with like the look. And it also is one of the films that I can say that has like it's the most saturation I've ever seen in years, because they really throughout this movie boosted the saturation up so much to like almost like this otherworldly level, which I loved because it was so saturated, like super colorful. But it stars Abbey Lee, who was, you know, from Neon Demon and the Mad Max Fury Road. She did an amazing job in this movie. This essentially, though, she ends up, you know, coming home for her honeymoon, and it's real awkward and weird the way she comes back, because she doesn't seem like she really, you know, knows exactly too much about anything. She seems sort of oblivious, like she's never really seen this house before that she comes to, which is this huge, you know, super modern kind of house where you have to like mansion, where you have to like put your thumbprint in to open up all the doors, and they're all locked and everything. But she seems kind of oblivious to things, doesn't really know why her husband, who's this much older man, you know, picked to marry her or anything. She doesn't know. It's like you find out throughout this movie, though, what's going on with all this. And also Carla Gugino, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name correct, but, you know, who's been in tons of movies, but I always think of her from, you know, Son-in-Law, as, you know, who plays the woman that brings home Crawl from, you know, college to see her family. I don't know, I've always been a fan of her for years, but she actually did a really good job in this, playing a different kind of role. She was doing like a British accent in this, and it was real different. It's essentially, though, you know, Abbey Lee's character comes home to her for her honeymoon, and then also her husband's like showing around the house and saying, "This is the wine room, and this is this, and but this room, do not under any circumstances ever go in here. This is my private room. You know, you cannot go in here, and that's the only rule I have in this entire house." And of course, though, she ends up peeking in this room very early on in the movie, and because of this, it ends up being what ends up happening to her. And you end up, you know, coming to find out a whole bunch more about what was going on in this room. And, you know, I really can't tell too much about this, and I don't want to ruin this, but it just ends up being this insanity that goes on. And then there's like scenes too, and they like tint the picture red and like blue. Like I said, it's got a total Argento vibe to this with the music and everything. I just was, you know, totally loved the saturation levels and everything to this. It just looked amazing, and like I said, totally otherworldly. And it has on here a making of featurette on here, as well as a theatrical trailer. But honestly, guys, top recommendation. This is the kind of movie I like. I like stuff like this, so definitely recommend you guys check that one out. The next one here is from Lionsgate. It's a movie starring Bella Thorne called I Still See You. This is when I saw the trailers for this one, and I think it ended up just going to like limited theaters and then like video on demand, but I really wanted to see this. This is from the same director who did Midnight Sun as well with Bella Thorne, and this is essentially, though, there was this sort of like an explosion type thing that happened, and in the world, like, because of this, a number of people had died. You know, a lot of people had died, but then something had happened to everybody, and the people that died, and as well as other people that had died years before, for some reason something with this explosion had to do with it. Everyone had the ability to see kind of the spirits and the remnants of these people, and they're all and this, like, Bella Thorne's father, who had died, her character's father, she sees him every morning at the the dinner table, eating, like, reading the paper and everything. But you see people that you knew, or people in the neighborhood, like cutting the grass or doing random type things, but it's all like on a loop. You can't communicate with them, you can't talk to them, they can't affect you. They're just kind of there as this ghostly spirit doing one like thing on a loop. But Bella Thorne's character, the one day she ends up seeing this guy in the bathroom who's like writing something on the wall that says, like, you know, be careful or something. Basically, he's giving her this warning, and for some reason she's having this ability to, more things are happening, and she's noticing more and more things and these warnings to her, and she's trying to figure out exactly what is she being warned about and everything with these people. And you come to find out more and more about, like, how this happened to everybody, and it's just essentially her trying to figure out what all this stuff means and what she's being warned about, and kind of get into the past of the person who, you know, of course, who was the ghostly essence that she's seeing, who this person was that was giving her the warning. I really like this. I thought it was actually really well done. I thought they did a really good job too on the effect of the ghosts and stuff, the way you were seeing everything in the loops and everything. This has on here, though, deleted scenes, a bunch of different featurettes, you know, talking about the novel to the screen, commentary track on here with Scott Speer, as well as Bella Thorne on this one. And the next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and this is Lizzie, which stars Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart. And this is the story of Lizzie Borden, and Lizzie Borden is played by Chloe Sevigny in this film. This one too is also an R-rated version of the story, so this is much more intense and like with like everything that's happening and everything. But essentially, though, if you guys don't know the story of Lizzie Borden, it's, you know, it's a real known story, a case of, you know, and there's also a lot of mystery behind the whole thing as well. But, you know, Lizzie Borden, you know, killed her mother and her father, and she was living with them, and she was getting older and everything. And her father was pretty much very abusive to the way he was, and kind of controlling and saying, you can't do this and you can't go out and do this, and like a lot of it too, you know, no one knows exactly everything, so there's a lot of interpretation to the case and everything. But, you know, this one, though, explores a lot more of the story between Chloe Sevigny's character and Kristen Stewart's character, she comes to be the maid at the house and kind of help, you know, fix things up and stuff. And she came over, I believe it was from Ireland. She came over, and she's came over, you know, to do work in the house and everything. But, you know, they kind of have a relationship together, so they explore a degree of that in this film. And it's essentially, though, it's also dealing with, too, Lizzie Borden's uncle, he's coming around, and he's trying to get, like, you know, basically he's trying to be in charge of the finances in the house for if Lizzie Borden's father dies. So, and he's like a big mess, and he's like drinking, and he just kind of wants to get the money for himself and everything. So there's a whole lot of like dramatic kind of stuff going on in this one. I thought they did a really good job on this. I thought this is probably one of the best versions of this story that I've seen. You know, there was the one in the 70s with, I believe it was Elizabeth Montgomery, and then there was the one, you know, recently with Christina Ricci. But I feel like this was definitely, in my opinion, probably the best, you know, interpretation and everything of the story here. This also has a Understanding Lizzie featurette on this one. Next one here is from Lionsgate as well. It's a movie here called Viking Destiny, which stars, Terrence Stamp is the star of this one. And this is essentially, though, about this king who was at battle, and right when his wife was pregnant, and he was away when she gave birth, and because of that, though, his wife had died. And also, like, he believed, it was like known in the legends and stuff that where if you're not around when your daughter is born or your kid is born, it's like basically the birth and everything is cursed. Like, because of that, though, too, since he was away and he wasn't there for the birth and everything, the wife had died. And he also knew, too, since he had a daughter, he couldn't, because he was hoping that it was going to be a son that would take over the reign of his throne and stuff in the future. But of course, though, it doesn't go as planned, and he ends up basically he has his daughter, but like he has his one of his people that is under him at the throne and everything raise the daughter as his own. And of course, though, throughout the years, though, this guy is training this daughter and everything for battle, and just to be safe, and just to show she knows things and everything. And the king also has this son, but the son is not doing very well, and he's really not into fighting or anything like that. But essentially, though, it's kind of about because of it's not working out, the king is actually going to come clean to his daughter and tell her that she's actually his daughter and everything, and have her be kind of groomed to take over the throne if anything happens to him. But of course, someone who works for the king does not like this at all, and he plans something to try and screw everything up and get his the king's daughter framed for this murder and all this kind of stuff. So it becomes a whole big thing of her trying to, kind of like in Gladiator, kind of get back and get her throne. I thought this was actually pretty well done. I thought Terrence Stamp did a really good job in this as well. I've always been a fan of him. This has on here, though, a bunch of different featurettes on the film with the battles and talking about the, about the cast and everything on this one. The next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and this actually stars the real, I believe it's the real dog, because the dog is actually doing this, that actually can skateboard, and it's like some crazy stuff this dog can do on the skateboard, but this is called a Skate Dog, and this stars Joey Lawrence, and David Arquette is the voice of the dog, it's a Skate Dog character in the film here, and this is essentially, though, about this kid who is really into skateboarding, and he's really trying, but he's not really that great at it, but he goes around with his dog, and he kind of makes videos filming his dog skateboarding and everything, and he's really trying, and at the skate park and stuff, there's this one kid who's always bullying him and giving him all kinds of problems and everything, and he's challenges him to this contest and says who can win, and I bet I can win, and there's no way you can. So it's essentially about this kid trying to get better and better at skateboarding and everything. It's also dealing with the kid's father, who works with his mother at this skateboard kind of company, and Joey Lawrence is in here playing someone who may be donating money and putting money into the company and everything. But I don't know, it's much more of a film for kids and everything, but I thought it was actually pretty well done. I feel like kids would definitely really like this one, especially if they're into skateboarding and everything, and it is really fun, though, to see this dog doing skateboarding tricks and skating around and everything. And this has on here the feature on the making of the film. On here has interviews with Joey Lawrence and everything, talking about the project, as well as a trailer gallery on this one. The next one here is from RLJ Entertainment. This is another film starring Bella Thorne that I talked about, I Still See You, a minute ago. But this is a film here called Ride, and this also stars Jesse T. Usher as well as Will Brill. I love this one. This one was great, and this is essentially, though, about James T. Usher, who is kind of like a driver for a ride sharing service kind of thing, like Lyft or Uber, that kind of a service, and he ends up he's also an actor on the side, and he just got a couple little gigs here and there, but he's really trying to work to get bigger parts and everything. So he's driving for the ride service on the side, and it's about essentially, though, him just his night driving around and everything, and he ends up picking up Bella Thorne's character, and he's driving her to this party, and he's kind of hitting it off with her, and they're kind of talking, and right when he drops her off, she's like, well, we're gonna be in here for a while at the club and stuff, so whenever you're done, if you have time, come on by and hang out and everything. So he's like, oh yeah, I might do that. I'll let you know. I'll come by and stuff. Of course, he forgets to get her phone number, so he's thinking about her right afterwards. He's like, I should have gotten her phone number. But right afterwards, he gets this call, Lyft's kind of call from this other guy, for who needs a ride. He picks up this guy, and this guy, played by Will Brill, is really odd acting, and he's like, oh, I just broke up with my girlfriend tonight, I'm not in the greatest mood, and he's like, so where to? And he's like, no, could you take me to this place, and could you? I'll give you a little extra money if you wait, and just take me these places. I may have to go to a couple spots and everything. So just drive me around, and I'll give you $100. And the guy's like, well, this isn't really how this works. And he's like, oh, come on, just hang out and everything. So he's just reluctantly says okay, and he starts driving this guy around randomly and taking him these spots, and it's all sketchy the way things are going. But essentially, though, he ends up telling him about, just saying, I do have something I have to be, and throughout the night, and this is really early on, he comes and says what it is, and it's that he was hoping to see Bella Thorne. He's like, oh, well, you got to pick her up, pick her up and bring her along with us, tell her, we're going to go to this big party and stuff, with this hot tub party and everything. That's where this movie takes this crazy turn about this guy and what he's doing, and becomes absolutely intense. I love this movie. It also has on here the original Ride short film, but Bella Thorne did a great job in this movie. The guy, everybody did a great job. The Jesse T. Usher, as well as Will Burrell, who played this really weird guy in this. But honestly, definitely check this one out, guys. I love this one. This one is from RLJ Entertainment as well. This is an anthology film called All the Creatures Were Stirring, and this has on here Constance Wu, who was on Fresh Off the Boat and Crazy Rich Asians. She's in the last segment. I believe it was the last segment on this one. But it's essentially about this couple who are like going on I think like their first date, and they're going to this sort of like a kind of like a small interpretive kind of stage show. It's really odd. They're all wearing like jumpsuit. I don't know what you'd say it is, like weird stretchy kind of outfits, and they're like moving around real weird and doing an interpretive kind of dance kind of thing, sort of thing. But it's like that's like how that becomes the anthology segments, because they're seeing these things, and they put up like a sign that says like the creepy night, or like the whatever they put up, like a different type of titles. Then it goes into the anthology segments, and then it cuts back to like the interpretive version of it, like standing over someone with a Christmas tree doing weird movements and everything. But it has like I think it was like 3 or 4 segments on here. The one was like at a Christmas gift exchange at a office building, and it was something like they were kind of locked in this room, and weird things were happening in there. One of them was this guy whose car broke down he was leaving out of like an department store, and he has to get back home for like the holiday parties and everything, but he ends up locking himself out of his car, and he sees this van with these 2 girls across the street, and they come by, and like he goes over to them and gets their phone and everything to call like AAA and everything. But then there's some weird stuff going on with both of these girls. And then the other one was a segment with Constance Wu's character on like going to a Christmas party, or she's having like a Christmas party at her house, and it ends up being like a segment kind of like old school look, like a Twilight Zone episode, and there's some really weird stuff with the people that come by and everything. I actually really like this one a lot. I thought this was actually a really fun anthology film. The one actress in here is from a Ty West film on here, and she's also in the Aflac commercials. I see her in those. I'm at the gym all the time in those commercials, but she was in this movie as well in the Office segment. And the next one here is from Warner Bros. They sent out a free copy of this one to let you guys know that this one is available. This is the 4K Ultra HD here of The Nun. This is the film that's in the Conjuring universe. You see the nun character in the second Conjuring film. Essentially, though, this is about Teresa Flamingo's character, who is playing this nun in the movie, who is kind of at a crisis where she's like not 100% sure. She's right about to take her final vows to totally become a nun, but she's not 100% sure about it. She's kind of having some questionings and everything about if she really is ready for this and this is the right path for her. But she gets called to go to this convent where there has been some weird type of encounters that have happened, and they've heard of kind of not had a lot of contact with it or anything. So she goes here along with a priest to go there, and she gets taken in by this guy who lives in the village. So the guy takes her in to where this place is, and there's been some weird stuff. Like right in the beginning of this movie, you see something really weird happen with this nun. But of course, though, they get there and notice there's odd things going on. People are missing. They're seeing odd things, which is like this nun around. It's a very, very creepy, atmospheric film. Like I said, it's the same character that you saw. And I don't think you saw this character in the first Conjuring movie. I'm pretty sure it was only in the second film, but it's a really creepy, like I said, atmospheric film. This has on here though a bunch of different features. It has bunch of featurettes on the film, as well as over 10 minutes of deleted scenes on this one. Of course, too, this is the 4K edition of the film. So, if you guys have 4K, though, this one looks amazing, because it's like a very, very dark, atmospheric film, and like the HDR in the film, they on the 4K, really, really, that's the one thing you see a whole lot more of the contrast levels to the film, and that really benefits this film. Also, of course, too, I feel like, too, like I've said in the past, brightness, you always notice a much, much brighter picture to the film itself. But really, really creepy movie. Definitely recommend, if you guys are a fan of the Conjuring series, to check that out. This one here, Warner Bros. Sent over a free copy as well to let you guys know about as well. And this is the complete second season here of Westworld. This is in a cool hardbound case here. The 4K of season 1 was in a steelbook, and this one is in a really cool hardbound case. And this is basically, you know, it was based on the original Westworld show, Westworld film from the 70s, and then they did, I think it was Future World, but that was the original basis to, there was also a book as well, but the original basis to this series here, which is a modernized version of it. And it's basically, though, was a western town where it was, you know, the robots were basically a western town populated by all these robots, and people would go there and kind of live their fantasies of like going in, like, you know, fighting against a gunslinger, and like just kind of like they have all these type of fantasies within this town. But of course, though, in the last season, something had happened, and like the robots and everything had, you know, kind of revolted. And this season is about kind of a group of these people going in there to try and like put a stop to the robots that are there, and because there was like a whole lot of bad stuff happened in the last season, but it's essentially the robots though have all gone rogue. And it's because it also deals with too the robots kind of having their own lives and not knowing that they're robots. It's actually a really interesting series here. It has on here though a bunch of different featurettes on here, as well as on here reflections of season 2, creating Westworld's reality special featurette on each episode. But 4K wise though, looks really good. If you guys have 4K, highly recommend you guys check this one out. This has a really cool look to this show as well. So really benefits on 4K. And in here though, you get the 4K discs here, as well as Blu-rays of it. So it has the 4K discs as well as the Blu-rays. And also it has a booklet in here, which has like an episode guide talking about each of the episodes. On this one, it has like a cast list in the back, as well as a digital copy of the show. But if you guys are a fan of this series, like I said, want to let you guys know this one is, you know, released on 4K. There also is a Blu-ray of this as well, but like really cool, they include the 4K and the Blu-ray discs. Now the next one here is from the Criterion Collection. This is one of those ones I cannot believe I never saw this till now. It's one of those movies that's considered a classic, but I just don't know how I never watched this. And I love this movie so much, and this is one of those movies where if this didn't exist, I don't think things like, you know, Mrs. Doubtfire would ever have happened. And this is a movie here called Some Like It Hot, which stars Jack Lemmon is in this movie, Tony Curtis, and of course Marilyn Monroe. And this is essentially though about Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, who work. This is around the time. It's set in the 30s with the Prohibition, and there's like, you know, alcohol's illegal and everything, and they have like secret clubs and everything, but you know, where they sell it. But it's Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon who end up, you know, they work there kind of playing instruments at the club. But something ends up happening, and they end up having these gangsters coming after them because they witnessed this murder. And it's like all sorts of things. But they end up at this, the agency where they go and try and get jobs and booked for places to play and everything. They overhear that they need these 2 women at this kind of, it's going to kind of travel around and play together, instruments together and everything. So they kind of overhear this, and they, you know, when they're in there trying to find another job earlier in the movie, they're like, oh, well, we could dress as women and we could do this. And they're like, oh, no. But right when these gangsters are coming after them, they actually call them up and like do a women's voice and go, yes, we can do it. And of course they show up dressed as women, and it kind of ends up being them in these kind of wacky, kind of problematic situations, because like, you know, Tony Curtis's character ends up liking Marilyn Monroe, and you know, right when they start working together, and it's like, it's kind of has the Mrs. Doubtfire thing when he has to try and play himself at some points, and like has to be 2 places at the same time kind of stuff. I don't know, this was amazing. I love this so much. Like I said, I don't know how I've never seen this. It's also, a lot of it was filmed in San Diego at the Hotel Del, so that was really cool, because I remember, you know, I live in San Diego. It was cool too I remember going there years back and hearing them talk about that, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just one of those things where I just like, how did I not watch this? But this has on here though a brand new 4K restoration on here. It looks amazing. They did such a great job cleaning this one up. It has a commentary on here from 1989 with film scholar. There's a bunch of different featurettes on here. It has appearances by Billy Wilder, the director, on the Dick Cavett Show in 1982, conversations in 2001 between Tony Curtis and film critic Leonard Maltin. So lots and lots of features on this one. Just a great movie. If you guys have never seen this one and like films, you know, like Mrs. Doubtfire and all those kind of things, highly recommend you guys check this out. Like I said, I really don't feel like Mrs. Doubtfire and that kind of stuff would ever happen. It's also very ahead of its time for, you know, the subject matter and everything on this one, but really great movie. Next one here is from Blue Underground. This is the brand new 4K restoration here of the film Maniac, and this has a lenticular cover on this one. I always really like this movie. This is a super brutal film. They remade this film a couple years back with Elijah Wood in the role, and it was all done like through his perspective, and it was a really interesting, different take on the whole thing, because the director, the star of this one is Joe Spinell, who is amazing. Like I always loved all the stuff that he was in. He was also in another horror movie called Undertaker, and lots and lots of stuff, but he was always so great. And he plays such a creepy guy in this movie. It's this guy who has all sorts of problems, and he goes around at night and he like stalks women and he kills them, and scalps them and puts their hair on these mannequins, and he's like, it's just an insane movie. And this was also one the effects in here were done by Tom Savini, so there's like really great effects in this one. It is a super brutal movie though, and it has on here though tons of features. It has like archival features. It has commentary track on here with the director. It has commentary track on here with the producer and director. Special effects makeup artist on here. On one of the commentaries, Tom Savini is on this, but it has some brand new stuff. It has Maniac outtakes, which is some like unused scenes and like clips and stuff like that, and like that kind of stuff, and it's narrated by the director talking about them. It's great footage that he, like he said, he really only recently discovered that he had. And it has on here returning to the scene with William Mustang, which is him going and looking at the locations now. And he's kind of telling stories about the places and stuff. As well as it has on here interviews on here with Tom Savini, the Spinelli story, Mr. Robbie, Maniac 2 promo reel, which was the promo for when they were thinking about making the sequel to this film. Maniac publicity has also here talking about the controversy of this film. But another thing in here it includes, which is really cool, is it has the soundtrack to the movie. So it has the movie's soundtrack on here as well, since it's a 3-disc set. And there's also a booklet in here with some pictures from the film and everything like that. But a really great movie. Absolutely love this one. Highly recommend if you guys have never seen this one. Definitely a must-watch movie, but just a super brutal movie. And I'm loving these new releases though that Blue Underground is doing. I love these lenticular covers. I think they announced too they're going to be putting out a new edition of Two Evil Eyes down the line, so I always like that movie as well. The next one here is from Macneill, and it's a movie here called Support the Girls, which stars Regina Hall here. This is basically kind of a similar vibe to the film Waiting. It has that similar kind of feel to this. It's about all these girls that are, and it's run by Regina Hall, who's the manager, running this kind of sports bar kind of place, kind of like a place sort of like Hooters and like that kind of place, similar kind of thing. It's about her kind of going through all the stuff she does in this one day when she's kind of running this car wash to kind of benefit somebody who like comes there, and like all the sort of problems though that she's going through during this day. And there's like the wacky kind of customers that come in, the problems that they run into, her trying to interview new people who would work there, and they're kind of working there that day as like a trainee program. Just a really fun, like I said, similar kind of vibe to like Waiting, that kind of feel to this one. So if you guys are interested in that one, definitely check this one out here. And the next one here is from Viavision, and this one here is a region-free release, so you guys can watch this one in the US and Australia. There's no like region coding or locking on this. This is the show here, Channel Zero Butcher's Block. This is the complete 3rd season of the show. I just started watching through this one. I'm a couple episodes in. This is so cool. It's such a creepy season though of the show. It's essentially though about this girl with her sister who move into this area, and it's near Butcher's Block. That's the name of the area where it is, which has like all kind of weird things that had happened there about like, tales of like people who would go into this forest nearby and like see these steps and come up the steps, and like there's weird things going on out in these woods. Also, there is a meat like kind of factory there that has all this kind of legend, and Rutger Hauer was the head of this factory, and the family, they all kind of went missing. No one knows where they are. So this was years back. But of course, though, this girl is there working this job, and she's trying to deal with her sister as well too, who is recovering from drugs and everything, and she's trying to keep her, together and everything all right with the sister. But of course, the second she gets there, she sees this like weird kind of, thick character kind of running around and stuff, and they kind of get entwined between all these creepy things that are going on out in the woods, and something happened to the sister too in the very first episode, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her. And Rutger Hauer is amazing and so creepy in this show. This was so good. Highly recommend you guys watch this one. And this on here too. This is so cool. This is on Blu-ray, because I remember when this first aired, and I'm pretty sure I watched this one when this was first on. This is the Stephen King Presents Kingdom Hospital, the complete series here, and this looks amazing in HD. This one is region free as well, so no region lock or anything. It's so cool to see this one in HD, and this is all about this hospital where there's all sorts of weird going-ons there, and like creepy kind of things. And there's like this kid, basically the area where this hospital was built, all these kids and people had died there in the past, and there's like this kid who's haunting this hospital, but also all sorts of weird things that are going on. And it's about this guy who was in this get hit by a car, and he's a person who's there in the hospital. This is sort of all the goings-on and creepy things that are happening in there. And it's a series that went on for 13 episodes. And it was a series that originally was based on a series called The Kingdom, which Lars Van Trier, was behind that series, and this was the Americanized one. And Stephen King, wrote the scripts for this and was like one of the main producers on this series. So this is really, really creepy atmospheric series. Has on here, though, Stephen King and filmmakers commentary on here, the making of Kingdom Hospital featurettes. So tons of different featurettes. Really, I recommend you guys check this out. It looks great in HD. The next one here is from Paramount, and this is a Comedy Central show, which I never knew about. And this is called Nathan for You, the complete series. And I started watching this, and this is a really fun. It's kind of like a I think it's where it's sort of like with Borat, where it's like real people, but like they don't know exactly that this is all kind of like Nathan's character is kind of like trolling them and like saying really weird, ridiculous things to them to try and get a reaction. He's essentially, though, in each of these episodes, he goes to like businesses to try and help them grow and help them, become have more success. Like he goes to like this yogurt place and says, "Oh, the way to market yourself is to have a poo flavored yogurt," and it's like people will all come to try this, and he develops this flavor, and it's like ridiculous. And it's like all these different places where he goes to work and help them. And then it also has stuff in here too, like job interviews with him that are real over the top, and he's like messing with the people. I was looking too. Kyle Mooney was one of the, who's from SNL. Now he was one of the writers on the first season of this show. This has on here a commentary track on here with Nathan and special guest, as well as some deleted scenes on here. But a really, really fun series, and I love these kind of shows too that are dealing with like going to businesses and trying to help them. And this one, like I said, is like more of a parody, over the top version of that. And next one here is from CBS Paramount. I just want to let you guys know that this one is available. This is the complete first season here of the show Instinct, which stars Alan Cumming. This is basically, though, about Alan Cumming's character who was in the CIA, and he left that and he's retired. He's now a teacher, a real top level teacher, and he's written some books and everything. He's kind of left all that behind. There's this, NYPD detective who's come to him to try and, like, convince him to come back and help her on this case, because there's a serial killer that's going around, and it's believed that he's using the book that Alan Cumming's character wrote, like the first book that he ever wrote. So he's kind of, like, is using that as his guide and everything. So she, like, convinces him to come back, and it's essentially them trying to work together to track down this guy, and they have, like, clashing views on how they think things should be done and everything, so they have all sorts of little problems, and it's essentially, though, them working together to try and find this killer, as well as working together in like other cases and stuff like that. Like I said, just to let you guys know that this one is available, and it has on here extended and deleted scenes, a gag reel, as well as it includes pilot episodes of 3 different shows. It has the pilot episode of Bull, pilot episode of The Good Fight, as well as the pilot episode of SEAL Team 1. The next one here is from Cleopatra Entertainment. It's a movie here called Death House. And this is one that I was really looking forward to seeing for so long, because I remember seeing all the posts about this and everyone talking about this one, since there's so many horror icons in this movie. There's like Kane Hodder, Bill Moseley, Dee Wallace, Sid Haig, Danny Trejo has a little cameo in here, Lloyd Kaufman's in here, Camille Keaton, tons, and Vernon Wells, and some people are in there for like really quick stuff, and there's some like really, sometimes it's like somebody in the background. It's all throughout the whole thing. But it's essentially, though, about Courtney Palm's character, who, along with her and another government agent, are going to this prison. It's like a super modern prison, kind of like in the movie Fortress a little bit. It's like in this prison kind of houses some of the worst like murderers and worst people around. And it's a lot of like virtual kind of stuff they're doing, because they're going in there and getting like toured by Dee Wallace's character, giving them a tour of the place and talking about the people that are there. And there's also these like I think it's like 5 of the worst people in there are all kind of control this place in a weird way. But it's essentially, though, you know, they're in there, and it's really hard to explain, though, I have to be honest. But it's like they're there, like, seeing this place, and they're going into, like, through virtual reality, they're going into some of the rooms and seeing things. I have to say, I absolutely, my favorite things was Sid Haig's scene in this. Like, oh, he was great. And this, like, it was a real quick thing. It was a small scene, but he was so creepy and everything. But it's essentially, though, just, like, so cool, though, to see all these horror people together in this. Like I said, it's not something you can explain too well, honestly. It has on here, though, a bunch of different interviews with the cast on here, but I actually really like this one. I can't explain it, honestly. I was thinking about when I was watching this exactly, like, what's happening, but it really is kind of cool, though. It's like I said, it's kind of like Fortress a little bit. And the next one here is from E1. It's a movie here called Death Kiss, which is directed by Rene Perez. This one is an exclusive to Walmart, the DVD of this one, so you guys can get this one in Walmart, but you can get the Blu-ray and everything on Amazon as well. It's a movie, though, the actor here, Robert Kovacs, looks so much like Charles Bronson. It is, like, amazing. He is, like, the most dead ringer of Charles Bronson I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is a movie in the style of, like, Death Wish. And it's, like, really, really well put together. And, like, the lighting and everything in here is great. It's essentially, though, Robert Kovacs' character is, like, a vigilante who's going and, like, stopping and, like, taking down bad drug dealers and all kind of bad people and everything throughout this movie. And it's got, like, real throwback vibes of, like, a real old school 80s film with the way it's shot, with the music and everything in here. The director, Rene Perez, does the music in this one as well. But it's like also he's trying to help this one family along the way and stuff, so he's kind of watching them and everything. But this is just such a great, like I said, if you guys like throwback style, you know, 80s style films like this, and you guys like films like Death Wish and everything, and just to see, too, this actor who looks, like I said, so much like, you know, Charles Bronson, it is, like, insane, the similarity that he has. It also has on here, though, a commentary track on here with the director, as well as a theatrical trailer. And the next one here is from MPI. It's a movie here called Attraction. This is a Russian film here, similar style to, like, Independence Day, kind of like alien science fiction film. Essentially, though, this is about this, like, giant alien craft that, like, crashes into the city, and, like, all of these things are destroyed and everything. It's essentially, though, about, like, everyone there trying to figure out, you know, it's kind of divided their views on, like, with these aliens. You know, some of them think, oh, maybe they're here for something good, they're here to help us with something, and then people are there thinking, too, that there might be, like, they're there for bad reasons, and they could be actually, like, planning, like, an attack or something like that, of that kind of a nature. So it's all kind of about the conflicting things that are going on in the city and all around. But it's like a, you know, heavily special effects movie, and the effects in this one are really, really good. Some really, really top-notch special effects on this one. And like I said, if you guys like films kind of like Independence Day, those kind of films, definitely check this out. It has on here, though, 3 featurettes, as well as a visual effects breakdown featurette on here, and the theatrical trailer on this. And the next ones here are from Midnight Factory. These are Italian releases here of Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. These are really cool hardbound books, media books here of the releases. Now, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first film here, that one is region free, so that will work on all players. But the part 2, though, is, you know, region D-lock, so you guys would have to have an all-region player for this one. And also, the first film includes the 4K release. These are movies, though, I've watched these movies so many times. I always feel like I watch the second movie more because it's more of like a comedic kind of take on the story, but it's essentially, though, about Leatherface and his family, which is like these crazy deranged killers. The first movie, it's about people who kind of discover them. They're looking at this old family house, and they end up wandering into the area, and Leatherface is going around killing all of them. The second film is about Leatherface and his family, and Chop Top, which is amazing. This played by Bill Moseley. It's kind of like they're going around killing people, and it's Dennis Hopper's character, who's going to try and find his brother, who was from the first film, you know, is the character who was in the wheelchair. He's been trying to track him down for years. And Caroline Williams' character is a radio DJ, and she ends up hearing one of the murders, or one of the people who was calling into her, you know, her murdered, and she keeps playing the tape and everything. So they're, of course, coming after her because of this. But I'll show you guys a little look inside here. Now, inside here of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a 3-disc set here. And then it has like a booklet with some pictures from the film, since it is a media book here. And then it also has, it is in English and Italian as well. But a really great release here. Really love this one. Really love the stuff that Midnight Factory is putting out. And then this one here for part 2, a look inside at this one. It has the original poster artwork here, which I always love this image, which is a takeoff on the Breakfast Club. Then it has some alternate image art as well. And it has a booklet with some pictures from the film. It's also in, yeah, I don't know, this one isn't in English as well, I don't believe, the text. But it's some great stills from the movie here. This is, I've watched this movie so many times. I love this one so much. Just a great, great movie here. The next one here is from Cinedime. It's a movie here called, which stars Taye Diggs, George Lopez is in here, Luke Hemsworth, John Cusack, and this is River Runs Red, and this is the 4K Ultra HD edition of the film. This is basically about Taye Diggs, whose character, he plays a judge in this movie, and you know, his son ends up getting killed because these police officers, these really terrible police officers come and you know, just because he's driving this really nice car, he ends up pulling him over because he's driving his dad's car, and the kid ends up reaching to get his license, and the one cop says gun, gun, and shoots him. And it's essentially though about Taye Diggs' character, who is this judge, like I said, and he's sort of trying to, you know, hopefully have correct thing, you know, we're hoping that these cops are charged with what they did because it was really wrong, and it's sort of it doesn't go well, and both these cops are going to kind of get off on this whole thing, and nothing's going to happen, and it's essentially about him going and, you know, getting his own justice on them. And I actually thought this was actually pretty well done. Always been, you know, fan of Taye Diggs for years, and George Lopez plays a real different kind of role in this one as well. And this one, like I said, this is the 4K edition of the film. And next one's here from Echo Bridge, and this movie here is called High Voltage, which stars David Arquette and Luke Wilson. Essentially, though, this is about David Arquette's character, who was once in this really popular band. He kind of had a couple hits, and he hasn't really had success in years. And he just has these parties. He's celebrating his 50th birthday party. This one guy kind of comes there who's a fan, and he wants to try and get into this band. And what ends up happening though is he's hoping to kind of get advice from David Arquette's character, or maybe he'll help him. But when he's there though, there's this one girl there that starts singing at the party, and David Arquette gets this idea oh well, maybe we have you guys thought about being a band, and I'll represent you guys, and you know, maybe and he's thinking to himself, this may be his big comeback and to finally, you know, get success. But David Arquette's character is having all sorts of problems though, because the one girl who's this going to be the singer, her mother is saying, oh, I don't think she should do this, and he's having all sorts of problems. But he ends up getting them booked on this tour. But what ends up happening though is this girl ends up getting struck by lightning, and she ends up dying and then coming back from it. And when she comes back from it, she starts to have you know, more confidence to perform and everything. But it ends up being her going and she's killing people, and you know, through electricity and everything. It's actually kind of a cool movie. This has on here though a commentary track on this one. This one here, it stars Jon Voight, and this is a movie here called Orphan Horse. And this is basically though about this girl who is in the foster care system, and she ends up, you know, the foster family is really mean, and this not a great family at all to her, and she ends up running away, and she ends up hiding out in this barn, and it's the barn that's owned on the land owned by Jon Voight's character. And it's, essentially though, she's kind of hiding out in there, and Jon Voight is somebody who too his character doesn't really like a lot of people, and he's kind of doing his own thing, and there's this one horse there that he's trying to train but doesn't really respond to him at all. But for some reason, this horse really likes this girl, and he's like, well, you could help me with this horse, and you know, I won't tell anyone that you're here. I'll keep it quiet and everything, and you can stay here and everything, because, you know, he comes to find out about what was going on with her. This is essentially though about kind of like the police are coming around, the foster system and everything is coming around trying to find this girl, and he's like, oh, well, no, I don't know, I haven't seen her, and they're kind of thinking there might be something up. But it's essentially though about her helping this, you know, with this horse and everything. It's actually a really well put together, you know, drama film here. And next one here is from Gravitas Ventures. Want to let you guys know that this one is available, and this is a film here called Till Death Do Us Part, which stars Taye Diggs. This is essentially though about Taye Diggs' character and his wife, you know, ends up saying that she's pregnant and telling him about it and everything, and he's really, really crazy crazy about the whole thing, and he's not happy at all, and he's like, I can't believe you did this, I can't believe you're pregnant, I don't want to be a father, and he like basically gets worse and worse and worse, and he's also very, you know, it seems like at first he's like a normal kind of guy, but he gets like crazier and crazier, and he's like abusive and everything, and she ends up finding a way to like escape and get away, and she kind of starts her own life over again, a whole new life, and finds this other guy, and everything like that. Things are starting to kind of look up, and he's actually figured out where she is and has like tracked her down. And it's kind of about him, like what he does and everything. It's like a really, really intense film. There's been a lot of other similar films of this style, but I thought this actually was a pretty well done one. I always am a fan of Taye Diggs as well. And then the next one here is from Monarch Home Entertainment. It's a movie here called The Sound and the Fury, which is directed by James Franco. It's a period piece, which is based on the William Faulkner's novel. And he's done a couple other period films in the past, and this one has in here Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, Tim Blake Nelson, and this is basically, though, it's all about like this, it's like kind of like a mansion kind of farmhouse, and it's like, you know, from this family that kind of started off like everything was going really well for them, and it follows three different characters. The film is in three different parts, and it's kind of about the downfall of this family, and it's like all the kind of bad things that had happened to kind of make this family like little by little fall apart, and kind of the bad things that they're into, and all sorts of the problems and everything. And it's like I said, it's a kind of a different movie for James Franco. I thought he actually did a pretty good job on this one. And like I said, I had never read the original story, so I didn't know too much about this one, but I thought this was actually pretty well done. Like I said, just want you guys know this one's available from Monarch Home Entertainment. But anyway though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!